Pete Moore, one of PCM Guns. Sorry about the rain banging off the roof, but it should be okay. Okay, this is another one from the archives. This is Ruger's 96 lever action rifle. In terms of lever actions, Ruger came to the party very late in 1996. Up to that time, most people in the US will use the standard lever action like the Marlin 1894 or the Winchester 94 in pistol calibers and medium rifle cartridges like 30-30, that sort of thing. They use them really for some brush hunting, close confines in woods and things like that, mainly shooting feral pigs and deer. Okay, so the 96 appeared, and as you can see, it looks a lot like Ruger's 1022, which is probably one of their flagship guns, along with the M77 bolt action and the Ruger Mini 14. So what it is, it's a compact lever gun. Now, caliber-wise, Ruger sort of didn't quite do what most people do. You have 3 rimfire chamberings to this gun: 96-22, which is 2.2 long rifle, 96-22M, which is 2.2 Magnum, and the 96-17, which is a 78 HMR gun. I've tested and hunted with the 78 HMR gun, and it's got 18 3/4 inch barrels, they all have, and for what it is, even with a barrel band on it, it's a surprisingly accurate little rifle. It does have some issues. Trigger is very nice and broad, but it's heavy. It's probably somewhere between 4 or 5 pounds. It's not creepy, it's quite firm, but you've got to really understand how the trigger works to make it shoot straight, because it's easy enough to, should we say, pulling away and lose your point of aim. So it is a 1022 in terms of build, barrels held in the same way by a block wedge. The real differences are, as we shall see, the receiver is much more curved down, because the action, as we can see, has got a short throw lever. Now the lever action on this is reminiscent of Savage's 99, which was a lever action at the turn of the century. Essentially, the lever, this curved section of lever here, links to the back of the bolt. So when you open it up, it pulls the bolt down out of engagement, and they've put a steel locking insert in here because I think they think that an aluminium receiver perhaps hasn't got the strength or longevity to hold against a recoil. Not such an issue with rimfire rounds, but they also made the gun in 44 Magnum, and I imagine they thought it would be great for hunting, and people would like a much more modernistic approach. It's got cross-bolt safeties, we shall see. Comes in iron sights as standard. I picked this one up from a keeper who was retiring, and I didn't have a 2.2 Magnum in my collection, and it's a useful gun for testing ammunition. And also, as again we shall see, 2.2 Magnum and 78 HMR, there's always this fight between the two of them. I think 78 HMR is a much better cartridge. It shoots flatter, shoots further. I can shoot 200 yards with my HMR, not a problem. However, what the 2.2 Magnum has, though it's slow, it's doing about 1900 feet per second, thereabouts, according to the ammunition companies. And they usually use a 40 grain bullet or a 30 grain bullet, around that sort of weight. And though slower, it carries more energy. And I've found, if you're sort of shooting close range foxes and things, then 2.2 Magnum is not a bad choice. But the rifle never really prospered. Say it was in production for 13 years and up until 2009. But there is virtually zero accessories for it. If you look at a 1022, for example, there's so much gear you can get for it. Drop-in triggers, new barrels, you name it. And I don't think I've seen hardly anything for the 96 guns at all. One of the big issues with this I found is that length of pull is very short. All the guns come out of the box with a shiny plastic butt plate. And believe you me, they're a bugger to shoot, because you get them into your shoulder and the butt just slips everywhere. No matter what you're wearing, it will not adhere. And I got this, I had a Mini 14, I bought this years ago and I kept it. Put this on, and it gives you probably nearly 1.5 inches extra length of pull, which is no bad thing for a gun like this. And also it locks it firmly into the shoulder. Scope mounting is, again, a bit cheap. They use a little tiny 1/2 inch dovetail that bolts onto here. You can't use a 1022 dovetail. 1022s use the same dovetail, it's longer. But because this much more curved receiver angle, you have this very, very short rail, which does limit your scope mounting possibilities. So it's one of those rifles that really, though it's a nice gun, and this one shoots, I suppose, off the bench at 100 yards, it will shoot about an inch, inch and a half, which for a 2.2 Magnum is pretty good. But it is a bit limited by what it doesn't offer you. Feed-wise, they come with Ruger's standard rotary drum magazine. This is a 9-round for the 2.2 Magnum and the 17 HMR. You can also get a big mag. This is a BX15 from Ruger. They made themselves, and it takes 15 rounds of HMR or 2.2 Magnum. See here, you've got your safety catch. Rifle's cocked. If you push this across, it goes from left to right for safe. You just push it if you want to fire, just like the 10-22. The stock is hardwood or a similar material, quite shiny, very basic timber, but it's rigid and solid and it works. You have a very long angled pistol grip and a very low comb, again quite typical of an American type sporting rifle. Sighting's very basic. Up front you have a gold tip blade and a transverse dovetail, and at the rear a basic flip up sight, which again is adjustable for windage and elevation. There's a barrel band here which clamps the barrel, and I've found after much mucking about that with the barrel band on it tends to shoot better than with the barrel band off. Magazine. See here, what you've got to do is break that down so it's about 1/2 inch or a little bit less as long as it comes down, and then the mag's just shuttle in and out and drop very easily. But if it's shut, you can see it's very hard to get in, and as you actually push the mag in, that clips down, so it's just something to bear in mind when magazine changes. Ammunition wise, I tend to stick with a 40 grain load. This is Remington's, it's a jacketed soft point with a recommended velocity around about 1900, and it's a good little load. This is unusual, something that's again never really caught on. It's a Winchester subsonic 45 max. I've never ever seen a subsonic for a 2.2 mag before. This is quite old now. I think it's been discontinued by Winchester. But I've tried it in this rifle and it doesn't shoot that well. And really, when you look at the velocities required, so the gun must be producing just over or around about 1,000 feet per second. And you get a little bit more energy out of it, but again, I don't think it prospered. Okay, here we are. So, got the 15 round mag, pissing down my rain, but we'll carry on. Break the axle slightly, lock it in. Action's nice and smooth, very short. Come up and shoot. That's 15 rounds. Okay, so that's Ruger's Model 96 series. In retrospect, I somehow thought that when Ruger made this, they expected it to be a big hit like the 10-22, and then really the industry took over and offered so much accessories to 10-22, it became a separate rifle, which gave it great longevity. This is a basic good design compared to something like an 1894 Marlin or Winchester. It's got a lot going for it. It's got easy detachable box magazine, fast lever action, easy scope mounting, all in all a solid little rifle. Where I think Ruger really fell down was caliber choice. The rimfire was logical, I suppose. People like rimfires, not a problem, but they only offered it in 44 Magnum. Great cartridge, but I think if they'd offered it in 357 mag as well, then that could have made it something a little bit different and maybe produced like an 8 or 10 shot box mag for it. But that's just my view on it. But you could make this rifle a lot better, put a bit more effort into it, think about scope mounting, think about all sorts, and if you did that, then the industry would come back in and probably produce a buttload of accessories like the 10-22. However, it never happened. But it's a nice little blip on the firearms development line, I reckon so. So, I hope you liked it. If you did, tell your friends, speak to me about it, support the channel.
It's pmoore.shootingsports@gmail.com, and I'll see you again soon with some more stuff. Good and safe shooting.